Let's talk about how the city that never sleeps came to be. The 10th of the 13 colonies, it was first called New Amsterdam by Dutchman Peter Manu, then taken by the British and renamed New York Colony, originally home to the Algonquin and Iroquois Native American populations. The city grew to house the 5-point games, hoop skirts of the Gilded Age, New York Knicks, and Mayor Mamdani. 3 key elements made New York the financial capital of America: construction of the Erie Canal, the signing of the Buttonwood Agreement that created the New York Stock Exchange, and the Panic of 1893. Today, Nicole Casper, Andrew Glover, and Nick Mojovic bring their companies Fintech is Film, This Week in Fintech, and Fiat Growth/Ventures together to produce New York Fintech Week, bringing the city and nation's fintech stars together to move finance forward.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Keisha Annie, and I'm an editor, and this is the Fuzzy Cow Podcast. We're coming at you live from New York Fintech Week, hosted by none other than Fintech is Film, Fiat Growth, and Fiat Ventures. And this is their Leadership Summit, day 2 of their 3-day-long series, where they're covering everything industry insider in terms of the fintech industry, again, the leaders, the movers and shakers. We've been covering and speaking with some of the attendees as well as some of the sponsors. And we have a lot of great things to share with you in this episode. So let's get into it. As you know, we like to cover events that are throughout the fintech ecosystem and deal with the industry insiders and also hit the streets of people in conversation or showing up in real life. Today we have Andrew Glover, co-founder of the Fiat Ventures and Fiat Growth, also co-host of this event that we're here covering, the 3-day summit series, Fintech is Film, Fiat Growth, and Fiat Ventures. Hello.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And first, just tell me a little bit about what made this come about, right? How did you and Nicole hook up? Kind of what was the inspiration coming into collaborating?
Yeah, most definitely. So this 5 years in the making. I've known Nicole for many years now. We both started out kind of content creators across LinkedIn, across different podcasts. We actually do a podcast together sponsored by Rex. During that time, we realized we felt like we needed to be a new space of large conferences was kind of shifting. We're moving to this world of these niche, really well-integrated, intimate experiences. So we dreamt up the FinTech Summit, the Leadership Summit. We had been doing it separately for a couple of years, but we just started doing it together, and it's really been experience.
Amazing. This is the first time you guys have been together, right? But not the last, for sure. For sure. So, talk to me a little bit about what you guys have growth and Fiat Ventures. Kind of like what you're saying, what are the verticals that you guys like to focus on, and what are you guys working on or working towards right now?
Yeah, so Fiat Growth is growth consultancy, focused on the fintech space. We've been around for 7.5 years, around 2 years into that. Founded a venture invested early stage fintech companies across really all edges of fintech. And so we typically invest $1 million to $1.5 million into early stage fintech companies to work around, but the connection between the growth consultancy and ventures kind of gives us this unprecedented access into the market. And so we doubled down on building a community around that space. That's really why we're doing events like this.
That sounds amazing. And, this podcast is called the Fuzzy Cow Podcast because obviously you kind of carry, right, whether it's a bid or a bull or financial news you can trust. And I'm kind of wondering, from where you sit at in this space, how important is the responsibility for new fintech to kind of think about the challenges that, the global economy, I can domestic, right? But those that do think the global economy are facing, kind of the tools that are helping that situation as opposed to extracting.
I feel like we're in the middle of a really exciting economy. With the advent of AI, it gives people the ability to build and scale and start companies in the timeline of a week or even a month, and doing it basically at the cost of zero. So right now we're in the middle of an ideas economy, and that's something that typically we hate on, with the ideas that worth nothing. And honestly, build something that might be still worth nothing unless people build on it and make impact. It's very exciting. I get to see probably 20 times the amount of founders that I saw 2 years ago coming to me saying they want to build a really incredible product or have built a really product. I think the biggest difference is a lot of them aren't building really businesses, but they are building really exciting businesses. So, any advice in the world here is like it doesn't matter if you're tobacco or not, if you're building something that's going to make a positive impact in the world that's competitive with FinTech, just lean into it.
Okay.
You don't always need venture dollars to do that successfully.
That's true. And to the conversation about venture and kind of how the nature of those relationships is changing, right? Do you feel like it's more of a buyer's market or a seller's market? And how is this idea of the company, right? Like, is it important for the people to kind of be the founders where they're at the taking pictures of me, taking lots of pictures of me. I
think we're at an entrepreneur's market. The entrepreneur's market is one where, as long as you don't lie to yourself, you're trying to, you don't try to be something you're not. And you understand that you might have $1 million idea, not a $1 billion idea.
Right.
You accept that and build that. If you're building a $1 billion idea, you're pitching to an investor, and you have some traction, like you'll be able to feel that you're truly in it for like a serious outcome, maybe ringing the bell at some point in the future. But if you have a multi-million-dollar idea, sometimes you're not. You accept that. There's incredible lifestyle businesses that still provide impact and still are solving really, really valuable problems.
And they're incredibly niche.
That's right. But the biggest problem is a lot of people find themselves. They get caught up in what they see in the media and just believe, I gotta go, raise around Sequoia or in Teresa or from these really big tech firms that just have really incredible brands and really encouraged to have some really great companies.
Absolutely. I'm gonna let you go soon, but I guess my last question before you move forward and looking forward to the future, what are you kind of like seeing that you're excited about in terms of fintech, right? Kind of technologies or properties that are coming out that you're like, wow, I'm really excited to see you go forward.
Yeah, there's two spaces I spend a lot of time on right now. One is the great wealth transfer that we're seeing, hundreds of trillions of dollars just transferred over as our parents and our parents continue to, pass on and pass along a ton of money savings sitting on for many, many years. And we're going to have to understand how to use that money. There's going to be a lot of money floating into the market. It's going to change how people save, earn, and invest. The other one in the future of work is heavily shifting. I talked about it earlier, saying the cost is zero now. It used to cost $1 million to start a company, now costs
a weekend of whatever.
Life, and so I believe that the future isn't necessarily any W-2 workers, it's going to be 1099 workers. It's going to be people having multiple part-time and full-time jobs with very just full-time salaries per month. The way they engage with that from a benefits perspective, tax perspective, healthcare perspective, is going to shift how people engage with the economy in a very massive way. So I spend a lot of time looking for different companies that are building in that space that are truly trying to impact millions upon millions and millions of individuals that are engaged in it.
Absolutely. That's actually super exciting. You're right about the wealth transfer. We've been all the first things speaking about that, especially if we come on energy family. Drew, can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. And until next time.
Yes.
Have a great
So my name is Maria Ramirez. I live in Colombia. I've worked from Colombia internationally since day one as a top. The top is a global payroll company, and we basically help companies all over the world to hire people across borders. And for those remote workers, we're giving them financial services so that they can earn and spend their money and manage their money globally anywhere in the world. So very happy to be here in New York, seeing everything that's going on FinTech, and of course what's happening and how many incredible women is out there building amazing companies.
Absolutely. And now let's talk about that, right? What is the benefit for a company like OneTap, right? Especially with that international focus. Come into an event like this, you're showing up and taking up space, right?
Okay, so basically it's about learning what's going on out there. We said okay, that's very different what happens in the room that on the streets. We're saying in a different way what's going on in the US and what are we saying out there internationally, and what we want is not just to learn how is that you guys in the US build relationships and build businesses, but is basically how can we connect the US with them, and how can we empower those companies in the US to hire and learn how is all that talent that we have.
So you brought up a really great point, which is actually one of the reasons that I want to speak to you on, because I think there are a lot of parallels, right? And I think just in general, from a financial standpoint, we're moving towards globalization. That's always been, word on the street. We see it more in 2026 and, than we've seen it ever before. But you also have conversations with people expatriating, right? People relocating, right? And I think that you guys' product offers a really great value to those who might want to stay stable, stay secure, right? Have some type of economic infrastructure, no matter where they are in the world. To that point, what are some of the parallels, now that you kind of spent a little time, right, at the conference this week, what are some of the parallels between the economic situation in Colombia and what you heard about the economic situation here in the U.S.?
Yeah, so number one, stable coins. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in stable coins, and it's just a matter of how can we provide those international markets as well the possibility to earn and spend their money in a stronger currency, which is U.S. dollars, of course. Stable coins is that way we can actually democratize stronger currency to those workers, and as well like this, we're seeing a lot of companies growing, scaling, and providing an amazing experience, and I think that's what we're actually pursuing at the top. It's not just about giving them an account, but it's about giving them the life experience and like creating a freedom lifestyle so that they can actually earn and spend their money across borders and actually without borders.
Hey, hi, so I'm Ronald. I lead marketing for Telegraph, and Telegraph is a company with a platform, and it's looking here in just an exciting way.
Okay, so let's talk about Clevertech, right? I think first, that's what you're here for.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? What do you guys bring to the space?
Yeah, so Telegraph is a customer engagement platform, and what we typically do is we help financial service organizations to really retain their customers.
Yeah.
And retention is a huge problem for any fintech because typically if you have a user that does not use you or does not activate the product in the first 1 week, they're more likely to drop off.
Yeah.
Right? And as your cost of acquisition is going up, retention is becoming increasingly it's significantly obviously cheaper to retain your existing customer, but more importantly, it helps you build relationships with your customer.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what is the responsibility of a fintech founder, especially a company like yours that kind of creates these, environments for customers to live in on these platforms? What's the ethics behind it? Right? What's the responsibility that we have right now as operators to keep the situation safer than what it might be otherwise?
Yeah, and I think as new instruments of new financial instruments are coming through. I think a large part of anyone in the fintech space, a founder or operators like us, who are supporting fintechs, I think education is a large part, right? And I think educating the end user with the risks associated with the product, understanding how to do better with those instruments. I think that's key. So I think education is a large part, and I think the way this really answer your question, what's the ethics of it, what's the key responsibility? I think a lot of founders need to start with the mindset of right, and really understand what the problems are of the end user, and then solve those problems, right? Because it's very easy to start looking at your customers as just a number on a dashboard, right? And it's really important to start from this kind of
Okay, everybody, it's your girl Keisha Annie and the Fanatic. And as you know, we are here on the west side of Manhattan at the Maximum Social Club. As I shared with you, we are doing the Plaid House today, brought to you by This Week in Fintech, Plaid Stablecoin. And I have Dennis here. Dennis, talk to us a little bit about what your organization is, what your role in that organization is, what brings you here today.
Hello, as a concept, my name is Dennis, and I'm the Chief Officer for This Week in Fintech and Stablecoin. So what brings me here is that we basically organize this and we are the power behind it. We had over 75 and
All in New York.
all in New York.
Wow.
But this week is really, really cool. I think the energy that's all different from that is getting like even in this space, like we said, it's like
Absolutely. There was a line.
you can see the energy.
Yeah.
You can see the visual.
There's a ghost joining
That's the
us.
energy. That's the demand of this thing. People are trying to come in. It's just the energy. Come today, 11 to 4 scheduled time for today. We have people coming in. So it's a bit like, yeah, it's going to be
And to that credit, right, it's a testament to the energy, right, and the conversations that are taking place. How do you feel like, or how do you hope that that'll show up when we all go back to our respective industries, right? The idea, the innovate, and even fun, you know what I mean? Different projects, the fintech is not in the space. How do you hope that what we experience here this week, right, will show up and kind of carry on throughout our present and future?
I think it's through a multitude of factors. Like it is when you come to a session like that, you can take Debbie, who's like the head of payments. He was talking about what they do for AI and doing this like customers cars that she can play out in the future. And like thinking inside about that, if you're a startup, to be like, okay, what's that? How do I play? How do I engage? But yeah, fundamentally it's about people and expertise. Because that helps us get
And I was going to ask you about that next, right? Talk to me a little bit about FinCon, which is a new conference in the fintech space, right? We've had a few of our traditional ones that everybody's familiar with. It's a store name popping up, making a lot of moves. They'll be at EMEA at the end of May, right? And then, of course, they'll be having their flagship inaugural, okay?
Well, so we had our inaugural event in New York last year.
Okay.
But we're launching here in Atlanta specifically in a few weeks. It's going to be our first big event. So let me take a step back. Stay with us. Let's first event in New York, later in DC. Yes, that's going to be a huge yeah, we're just keeping that machine moving. Yeah, without something like that.
And that's really exponential growth, and it's really like so timely, right? And I've been asking everybody what they're most excited about in this space, the TradFi space, right? Everybody's excited about those digital assets, digital numbers, respectively. So, I mean, you know, you can't really be more timely, and I would really advocate for anybody that wants to have that conversation or be a part of that conversation. If you can't make it to Amsterdam, please come out to DC. You will not regret it, and I'm sure it'll be more than worth it. All right, everybody, and here back again, another special guest from the Maxwell Social, this York Fintech stablecoin in Plaid event, Plaid House. I have Rachel Moore sitting here. She is a legend in the space. She's been a part of a lot of different organizations and done a lot of different things inside of the industry. And yet she continues to do more things. So we're happy to have her here talking with us today about what they have coming up and what she's working on with stablecoin. So Rachel, I know that was an introduction.
Working on events and media in the United States for 13 years and right now I am the content director for this week in business and
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about this again, right? We are in York Fintech. Kind of tell me about your role in it, right? What kind of brings this event together and the collaboration? Yeah, period.
And early on, I just had a little bit of coaching for me because we felt like running the whole so when we were thinking about alcohol, you know, class that we're excited about, and here we are.
I mean, how cool is it, right? Because, like you said, you guys focus point is kind of niche because it's really like intimate, like we're all like together, the true insight of the industry, right? It's kind of like a true grassroots part. And then Plaid, everybody knows Plaid. A lot of times when you kind of go through the event, and there's one time, man, it's kind of more inclusive, industry companies, right? But everybody knows Plaid. How can we connect our world, right, to our favorite acts and Plaid? So I think that branding is just great, and it kind of really just shows all the and all this things right? Yeah, it's on that. Let's talk about stablecoin, right? Talk to Dennis a little bit about it. Talk to me about it from your perspective. What are you most excited about? What you guys have going on? Right.
We're really looking into really accessible process experiences that are much more inclusive.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that. But I'm also really looking to an incredibly strong policy track that's going to be a big part of what we're doing right now. FDIC we are very because our policy that policy is big, what's the work
like let's face it, right? The policy part is why institutional investment, right? People feel more comfortable about the potential of possibility of compliance, the actualization of compliance and regulation, right?
That's why the policy is later on.
Because it is. Yeah. I mean, it truly is.